Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the NYOS School Board. Today is February 10th, 2026. We have a quorum, and this meeting is called to order at 6:04 p.m. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. I would like to offer a special welcome to our guests. Thank you for joining us tonight. You are invited to address the board during the public comment portion of the agenda. However, we do ask that you sign up to do so. There's a sign-up sheet to my left over here by Jackie. The online link is now closed. If you wish to speak during public comment and haven't signed up to do so, again, you can do so before item number 4 on the agenda. Board members have access to the board packet and the board drive. As a reminder, any board member can take anything from consent to the regular board agenda. Okay, let's approve the regular agenda for the meeting. Are there any adjustments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the regular agenda as presented.
Second.
David and then okay, all in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Next, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda items, which include the January minutes, the committee reports, and contracts.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Jess? For a second. Ben, all in favor? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, before we move into public comment, I want to briefly review how our community can engage with the board. This helps ensure that everyone's concerns are handled fairly and consistently. So as you'll see, public comment is an important part of our meeting. It allows the board to hear directly from our community. One thing we want to be clear about is that the board listens respectfully, but does not respond in the moment. This ensures we treat all speakers consistently and don't react without full context. Under the Texas Open Meetings Act, the board cannot deliberate or take action on any items that are not on the posted agenda, which is why we don't respond to public comments. Written comments are another effective way to reach the board. Emails are shared with other board members, and depending on the topic, concerns may be routed to administration or placed on a future agenda. Third one, board members, we are often visible on campus. So that is another way you connect with us. We are part of the community. Remember that we are parents and teachers and students, and so feel free to come up to and speak with us as you see us on campus or anywhere in the community. At the same time, any formal concerns should be addressed appropriately. And for campus level or classroom concerns, the best thing is to start with administration. It's the fastest and most effective way. Teachers, principal, your teacher, your principal, and then the superintendent are best positioned to resolve any issues. Of course, you're always welcome to come to the board, but I would not want someone to wait till the next board meeting to bring an issue when you can possibly get it addressed on campus. Okay, so what happens during public comment? So speakers, as you know, share directly with the board. We listen carefully. We don't engage in back and forth, as mentioned earlier. And confidential student or personnel matters cannot be discussed publicly. What happens after public comment, right? After the board meetings. Public comment, the board reviews themes and individual concerns. Items may be referred to the superintendent for follow-up, or if the issue is governance related, it may be placed on a future agenda. We are working on strengthening our processes. So we're continuing to look at how we get the public comment, look at themes, clarify expectations. So tonight you guys will see that we have a public comment rights and procedures. So this is one way that we're strengthening our process. Ensure appropriate follow-up through administration when needed. So when public comment comes up, we will follow up with our administration and If necessary, we will update the community on high-level things that are happening, so that our public, you guys can see how your public comment informs our work on the board. Just one last reminder that not responding in the moment does not mean that your concerns are ignored. Board members, do you have anything to add? Okay, so tonight we do have a podium. So anyone that's speaking tonight, that's public comments, any staff, if you're asked a question, I'm asking you to please come up so that this is the area where you can speak to the board. And we also, I believe we have a timer on that will be on there. So you'll be able to see your time. It may be easier for you as you're speaking to see how much time you have left. Then also has some signs, so you may hold up the 1 minute sign or the stop sign as well. Okay. Now that was my presentation, but now this is the regular part that I always say, and I'm going to continue to say it. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate the time and commitment our community shows by participating in our meetings. Your voices matter, and this portion of the agenda gives everyone the opportunity to share their thoughts with the board. Before we begin, I want to review a few important expectations. This is a public meeting, not a public debate or open forum. We ask that everyone shares their comments respectfully so that all voices can be heard. Outbursts, clapping, cheering, or other disruptions make it difficult for everyone to be heard for the meeting to proceed in an orderly way. To our guests, you have the right to address the board on any item on the agenda before it is considered or any other area of concern. However, due to the Texas Open Meetings Act, the board cannot deliberate or take action on items that are not listed on a properly posted agenda. The board chair may refer certain matters to the superintendent for review or place them on a future agenda for formal discussion. Although this is your opportunity to address the board, public comment is not a question and answer session. Those who have signed up in advance will have the opportunity to speak this evening. When you speak, please introduce yourself and describe your connection to NYOS. At this time, I believe we have about 10 guests signed up to speak. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Ben will serve as our timekeeper, as I mentioned earlier. We also, as I said, clapping can be disrupting for the board, and so there are other ways to show that you are in agreement or you show support for our speaker. So one way is this. Right, board members, maybe you can help me do this. I've also seen people do this. Have y'all seen that? Is that, am I doing it wrong? Can't tell me. It's okay. You're laughing at me. Okay. I encourage that. The board encourages that tonight. Okay. Our first speaker is Zoe Gutierrez. Zoe, are you here? Does she need the mic or she does?
User preference.
Yeah, let's use the mic.
So good evening to the board. My name is Zoe and I'm a 4th grade student at NYOS. Tonight I wanted to talk to y'all about the proposed changes to the dress code and how that might affect me, others, and their families. First, Free Dress Friday feels like a reward for wearing uniforms all week, and now you get to wear whatever you want and express yourself. We look forward to Fridays because it's so much fun to see everyone express themselves. Second, it is expensive to make these changes. We have already bought a lot of NYOS t-shirts, Spirit t-shirts, and they were expensive. We don't want families to buy new clothes. I have my name is Sophia Struby and I am in 4th grade. And I have even tried to get uniforms from the uniform exchange, and they never have my sizes. We also have friends who are sensitive to different clothes and only wear t-shirts. Polos are very itchy. Third, we are never included in the conversation even though we are the ones who are being impacted. We want to work together with these changes. Our school would become ordinary and be like other charter schools. As the board that speaks for and represents not your ordinary school, I ask you to reject the proposed changes to the dress code. Thank you for listening.
Okay, next speaker, Patty Kent.
She's unable to make it.
Okay. Kendra McGee.
Good evening, I'm Kendra McGee, former middle school assistant principal. I'm struck by how familiar some national patterns feel. False statements, weak checks and balances, leaders investigating themselves, disproportionate mistreatment of black and brown employees, manufactured crises, and protecting the accused. No, I'm not talking about the Trump administration. I'm talking about this administration under Dr. Rosa. Same playbook, different building. And here the harm isn't done with guns or brute force. It's done through rewritten history, suppressed evidence, silenced dissent, and retaliation. Dr. Rosa stated that my termination was in the best interest of this community. Let's be clear. I've never been accused of misconduct. I've never been accused of violating school policy. I've never been accused of misrepresenting my credentials, nor have I ever been accused of being inappropriate with staff or students. Yet, a white male employee with similar allegations was allowed to exit campus quietly over break with his dignity, yet I was paraded in front of students, followed to my car, and threatened with escalation by Dr. Rosa, treated like a criminal, stripped of my humanity. Again, not for misconduct, not for violating school policy, not for misrepresenting my credentials, and not for inappropriate behavior. I was fired because Ms. Edwards says that I was not on duty 2 days out of the 3 after my schedule changed, despite my repeated notice of family obligations that prior leadership respected. Meanwhile, an employee hired by Ms. Edwards was consistently late and failed to report at times, yet faced no consequences. So don't tell me that this is about punctuality. This is retaliation, disproportionate treatment. Since then, the stated reason for my termination has changed multiple times, from unmet duty expectations to attendance concerns to unprofessional conduct. If those claims are true, then release the documents and the video that I have repeatedly asked for. Dr. Rosa also justified canceling agreed upon sensitivity training, citing state law, but she cited the wrong law.
Ms. McGee,
Now
that's
that might
fine.
be
2
forgivable
minutes
as a
is up,
mistake,
Ms. McGee.
Except that it is condensed,
Ms.
that you
McGee,
tried to hire
just like
someone who was
everyone in
openly
public comment.
antithetical to the community. So, board, please do your jobs. We can still save NYOS. Stop being Dr. Rosa's teammate and be a
Zimmerman,
referee.
you're next. Elizabeth Zimmerman.
My name is Elizabeth Zimmerman. I'm the parent of 2 NYOS students, and I'm reading this on behalf of another parent who couldn't be here in person. I'm Jen Proctor, part of the NYOS community since 2010. My older child graduated in 2022, and my younger is a senior now. I haven't been as present in recent years, but after talking with my senior and reading what families are sharing, I'm heartbroken. I didn't realize it had become like this. After 15 years at NYOS, this is no longer the school my children and I loved and cherished. The NYOS we loved would have been proud of students for participating in civic engagement, not pressuring them to fall in line, or pushing religious integration in a place it does not belong. We've always had families of many faiths and of none. We used to take pride in inclusivity of culture, individuality, and diversity, supporting kids as they figure out who they really are. For example, NYOS used to expose students to the broader world with real respect, even including a unit on world religions that visited multiple faith communities, including the temple across the street, the mosque further down Lamar, a synagogue, a Hindu temple, and Brentwood Christian Church, with a leader at each to talk with the students briefly about different aspects of faith. That kind of openness mattered. We also used to have a truly comprehensive sexual health education program that parents could opt in or opt out of. It not only explained the basics of what bodies do, but of consent and of contraception and of STIs. To the families with younger children, my friends that I encouraged to choose NYOS because of our experience, I'm sorry. I'm sorry this has been happening, and I'm sorry I wasn't paying more attention. To all of you, I hope it gets better. I'm grateful to my kids for staying engaged, and I'm very proud of my senior for attending board meetings and speaking her mind.
Next, Tiffany Sabino.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Sabner. I'm a NYOS parent of a 9th grader and 2 graduates. I've been part of this community for 10 years, and I care deeply about how families are involved in school decisions. I want to speak about the proposed Family Leadership Council and how it raises concerns about redundancy and representation. Our PTA already fulfills the role of this council. Membership in the PTA is open to all parents, teachers, and administrators. Its leaders are elected, and participation is open to all families. The PTA works with school leadership on policy, infrastructure, and initiatives, and the PTA reflects broad family voices and advocates for every child. By contrast, the Family Leadership Council is to be appointed by the superintendent, meets only on weeknights, and includes ethnicity as a selection criterion, unlike the PTA that offers multiple ways to participate and is open to everyone involved with the school. While described as collaborative, the Family Council lacks transparency, accessibility, and a democratic process. Framed as a return to NYOS values, it instead moves away from them. It is more exclusionary than inclusive, and is more closed than open. As proposed, the council risks becoming a shadow body that reflects the administrative priorities more than family voices. It duplicates the PTA's work, diverts volunteer energy, and weakens trust in existing structures. If the goal is genuinely family involvement, we should strengthen the democratic, transparent systems we already have, rather than creating parallel bodies that limit participation. All families deserve a voice, not just a select few that are chosen by the superintendent. Thank you.
Megan Gregory.
Good evening, my name is Megan Gregory, second-year U.S. government teacher in my 9th year at NYOS. I speak tonight on agenda item 5C, quote, affirming our constitutional and legal right to choose to pray in school. Section 25.0823 of the Texas Education Code begins, the governing body of an open enrollment charter school may adopt a policy requiring every campus of the district or school to provide students and employees with an opportunity to participate in a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious text on each school day. Unlike much of the blatantly discriminatory legislation passed in the last session, this is written as an opt-in provision. Schools are not required to adopt such a policy. NYOS doesn't have to fight on this. We can simply choose to not participate, and we should do exactly that. Not only would such a policy further erode our deteriorating separation of church and state in Texas, it would also create an administrative nightmare for the district. A policy passed under this legislation would have to apply to the entire district, pre-K through 12th. NYOS would have to obtain and maintain documented consent from every participating staff member and the legal guardians of every participating student. Consent revocations would also have to be tracked and then enforced. Spaces designated for religious activity would have to be offered and available each school day, and these spaces would have to be isolated in such a way that no one who has not signed the consent form would be able to see or hear what is happening to protect the First Amendment rights of non-participants. If this resolution passes, NYOS is signing itself up for a logistical fiasco to solve a problem that, quite frankly, doesn't exist. Nobody at NYOS is being prevented from participating in prayer or religious study outside of instructional time. In the matter of agenda item 5C, I ask the board to do the right thing, the easiest possible thing, nothing. Thank you.
Hector Vega.
Hi, Joella. Seen all of you before. Here we are again. All right, switch on the road. A couple different things to note on the agenda that I wanted to make public comment about. I know you guys can address me, so make my comment. I hope you guys consider these comments during your executive session and thereafter. Starting with the calendar for next year. I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't know if anybody else has seen it. Just want to make sure teachers here really appreciate the calendar we have. Keep that in mind going forward. If you want to retain teachers, keep the calendar we have. Yeah, okay. Next thing, I want to echo Ms. Gregory's comments about the proposed action regarding the policy about prayers in schools. Just don't do anything about it. Just let it go. There's no need to make a mountain out of a molehill. All you can do is create more problems for yourselves. Trust me on that. Just let it go. All right, moving on. Section 5, letter D, discussing a vote on policy PG-4.607. I couldn't find anything about that, so I have to assume it's a personal school policy, unless it's something I missed amongst the state. I'm not here to make anybody, like to soapbox anybody on the use of AI. If you use it in your classroom, that's your business. If you use it at home, it's your business. As a school, the better fundamental way to keep this is AI out of the classroom as a policy. There's no need to make anybody's job harder when it comes to AI usage. Any teacher worth their salt is going to tell you that AI usage has blown out of proportion. Kids are not only using it to cheat, they're using it at home for basic fundamental like needs and resources. Kids can't do anything, and that's a struggle that we face at school. If you make a policy that has anything to do with AI, it should be either a blanket ban or it needs to have really stringent requirements. But my advice to you is to follow the thing we do about the prayer in school. Just keep that out of school altogether. And lastly, right on time, I wanted to make sure to make a comment on section A, letter A, number 1, I1. There's a lot of bullet points. Student uniforms have been a hot topic that I've made a point to bring up in like the last 5 years. I'll bring it up one more time because it's on here. Just get rid of uniforms. Make it a dress code. Everybody does it. Everyone's going to have a much better time with y'all. Thank you very much. All right. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Love everybody.
Samantha White.
Love you. Love you.
Hi, my name is Samantha White. I teach geometry here for high school. People are here to discuss the dress code in next year's calendar, and they're right to do so. I'll do it later if I have time. I want to talk about the one thing that has not been addressed since August. In the most recent staff survey, we were asked whether or not, quote, techniques and systems are in place to collect input from teachers both on a regular basis and as needed for specific decisions, unquote. But there was no follow-up question about whether or not we felt that input was actually listened to. The original question is predicated on the assumption that taking feedback is equivalent to hearing or implementing that feedback, which it is not, and I said as much in my response to the staff survey. But to be sarcastic about it, maybe you did take that feedback into account because no secondary teachers were asked about next year's calendar, and yet a vote is taking place tonight, so maybe instead of listening to the opinions that have been given to you, you've decided to stop pretending that you're listening at all. I don't know though. Every meeting you say that a lack of response in the moment does not imply a lack of care or consideration. But when a lack of response continues weeks to months after an issue is brought up, we cannot help but assume that we aren't being listened to. It feels like we're literally screaming into a void here. And I say we, students, staff, everybody, parents too. The people here tonight are representative of the countless people attending remotely who want transparency. You have been asked repeatedly, not just by me, to host a town hall. None has occurred. You have been told repeatedly that high school should have free dress with a reasonable, clean, and covered standard, including by our own principal and our secondary reps. Okay? You have been asked to explain multiple staff losses, especially the sudden and apparently unjustified firing of Kendra McGee. You have been begged, literally by so many people of varying ages and relationships to this school, to actually take our thoughts and opinions into account. The bar, our standards, they are on the floor, and you are all carrying shovels. And also, since I have time on AI, if y'all make any policy that makes me teach AI responsibly, which by the way doesn't exist, I'm not coming back next year, and I can guarantee that many of your best teachers will do the same. Thank you.
Katie Lee.
This might take a minute. Don't fall for that.
Okay, I don't think I need a mic. Hi, my name is Katie Lee. I'm a NYOS parent.
Can you please use the mic?
Oh, it was user's choice, but okay. Can we start my time over, please? Thank you. Hello, my name is Katie Lee and I'm a NYOS parent. I want to start by acknowledging Mr. Struby and Mr. Rice for coming to the NYOS Dramas production of Hadestown. Thank you so much for coming. It means a lot to your students, and thank you so much. It was also noticeable that no admin or the superintendent attended any of the 6 shows. There were many other amazing staff members in attendance that are here, so I don't want to let that go. Not only was this challenging show an incredible accomplishment for our students, it was a deep and meaningful conversation that your students wanted to have with you. I firmly believe that you all could have learned something powerful had you attended. I know that I did. Secondly, I'd like to ask you how many different dress code committees and surveys you need to have to realize that the problem is not the data. The problem is that Rosas doesn't like the results. She continues to push for more data so she can try to manipulate it to fit her own conservative agenda. Ms. Benoit collected data. She presented guidance. Rosas ignored it. Ms. Edwards collected data and presented guidance. Rosas ignored it and then pushed for a vote on an incredibly strict dress code while Ms. Edwards was conveniently away at a conference last month. Rosas continues to drain our talented teachers and admin of valuable time and energy to try to fix a problem that she created. There was no issue with the dress code until she began to meddle with it, until she announced major changes that sent shockwaves to the NYOS community just a few days before school started, until she humiliated multiple kids on their first day of school, demanding that they immediately change their hair color, until she began forcing admin to spend hours each morning going from class to police clothing. No one wants this. I'm aware that you're voting on the agenda item tonight in just a few minutes. I'm asking that you please stand up to Rosas and uphold the wishes and the culture of the NYOS community. I'd like to leave you with this quote from Hadestown that stuck with me. I believe that we are many, I believe that they are few, and it isn't for the few to tell the many what is true. Thank you.
Utah Zimmerman.
My name is Utah Zimmerman, and I'm in 9th grade here at NYOS. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone here who supports theater. Theater matters a lot to me. I have never been afraid to speak up when something matters to me, but theater has helped me in a different way. It's given me a place to feel like I fit in, and it's helped me build confidence in something I care about. I'm in tech theater now, and the next year I'm in 10th grade. I plan to keep going. Theater has also helped me realize what I want to do in my future. Shout out to Miss Eitler, by the way. That's why it's extremely upsetting to hear that the entire middle school theater program is being cut next year. I know this might sound like just an elective, but it's not. Middle school is where lots of kids discover theater for the first time. It's where they learn the basic needs, and it's where they find a community. If that program disappears, a lot of students lose that chance. It also affects the high school program long term. If there's no middle school theater program, that pipeline is gone. Fewer students come in with any experience, and it's harder to build strong productions and competitions teams over time. And middle schoolers lose the chance to be mentored by high school theater students, which is honestly one of the coolest parts. It helps younger kids feel included and excited about what they can become. So I'm asking you please to reconsider cutting middle school theater. If there's any other option, even a smaller program, please try to keep it. I know Mr. Ramirez is ready and willing to take it on. Theater is where a lot of students find our people, and that matters. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Utah. My last public comment, Sophia Struby?
She already voted, so I can.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
Excuse me, I signed out, but you can call my name.
Oh, okay. Where did you sign up?
The form.
What's your name?
William Sather.
Okay, come on.
Hey y'all. My name is William Savner. I have been here since kinder. I'm now in 9th grade. And throughout my years at NYOS, I've been in 7 NYOS theater productions. That's a lot, but has allowed me to grow so much as a person. I've went from this small kid who got bullied to feeling like I have a home, a community. I had just come from a middle school rehearsal. I'm now helping mentor these kids, and it's really something special to watch how much talent, how much energy these kids have that will be thrown away and wasted if y'all cut the middle school theater program. It's really important. We have students like myself and more up in the stands who are willing to take it on. We have a teacher who's willing to take it on, Mr. Mears. It is vital that y'all do not cut this program. It provides them with opportunities to grow and prepare for the competitive environment that high school theater is. We just completed our show, Hadestown. A lot of people who watched that left the theater in tears because it was so powerful and so good. And by fostering an environment for these kids to grow early on, we can have more shows like that can compete on a high level. We can have more shows. We just this year introduced one act and improv, and it's just amazing. I don't know what else to say. Thank you for your time. Please don't cut it.
Thank you everyone for your public comments tonight. Please know that the board listens. Next on our agenda is new business. Discuss and vote to amend 25-26 academic calendar.
Can everyone hear my voice okay, or do I need to use the mic? Can you hear me okay? Okay. So first, good evening, community and members of the board. On the next slide is a proposal to make an adjustment to this year's calendar. As we looked at the calendars, elementary staff asked that we adjust the conferences for elementary parents to better align with secondary finals. So typically, for this year, schedule is on the 19th, 20th, and 21st of May that secondary students take their finals and they have a half day. As it was scheduled, elementary parents would be asked to come to conferences on the 15th, which is a Friday, and Monday the 18th, which would be a half day for students. And so this created a burden for the parents to have two sets of days, and so that's why I brought this proposal forward to better align it. Do you want to talk about this also, or do you want to
No, we'll just do this one first. We'll need to vote on it. Are there any questions for Dr. Roses on this?
I'm just curious how it affects the final exams for secondary. Like, right now, I think Tuesday it's first and second period, Wednesday is third and fourth.
There's no change to secondary finals at all.
Okay.
The only change is that if you were a parent and you had a child in elementary and a child in secondary, you would, on the 20th and the 21st, you would be able to pick up both of those children half day, as opposed to having to pick up your elementary child on the 15th and the 18th, and then your secondary child all the other days.
Okay, so the 19th though is a full day for all students, is that correct?
As it's written this year, it's a half day for secondary.
Okay.
We're keeping it as it was for secondary, no change for secondary. Did I answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to amend 25-26 academic calendar?
Second.
No. Okay, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously, thank you. Okay, next is discuss and vote 26-27 academic calendar. Is this the calendar that we already voted on last year and got surveyed for last year?
We didn't, the board did not vote on it last year, so a little bit of history. Last year in January, we brought forth the 25-26 and the 26-27 calendar for approval. Before that, the Director of Development met with staff and families and received feedback on both calendars because we did two at a time. The board approved the 25-26 calendar, but it reserved the 26-27 calendar for a future vote. It's literally just a replication of this year's calendar onto next year's calendar. No changes are made except for what I just described, where conference days for elementary in the fall and at the end of the school year would overlap with finals. So you don't have parents having to take multiple half days for children across the grade span. And those are the only changes. We literally just transposed, and we got feedback last year from all the different groups, and so that's why I didn't call any special meetings with staff or parents, because we reviewed it last year.
Can I ask, there are no win Fridays for teachers, the half days, like it's
I am
been
so glad you asked that
once a
question.
month roughly?
So nothing about that has changed, but we were trying to be very mindful, and these are the calendars that are posted online. So these are parent facing. So really just in the mindset of a parent, what does a parent need to know? We'll have an internal one which will mark those 4 Fridays where teachers truly get to leave for the half days. Those will be internal because a parent doesn't need to know what of the 4 Fridays. So literally nothing has changed. Those 4 are still in existence.
There's only gonna be 4 Fridays?
I think there were 4 this year.
No, there were
Six.
6, pardon me.
And then
6.
2
I mean-
years before there were 8.
I
I'm so
mean-
sorry.
Some of the, like December, obviously, we're only here for 2 weeks, so it makes sense not to have one, you know, like spring break, March too, it's like, you know, it's reasonable, but, I don't know how it started, I've always, but this is only my second year, and I always, speaking as a teacher, I know I'm not supposed to do that, I look at it as, a mental health day for teachers, and, for anybody who's not been a teacher, or hasn't been one in the last 10 or so years, it's really stressful, and it's really hard, and by Fridays, we are wiped out. And I also recently found out that apparently elementary is not getting the half days, like, I would like to ask.
We could have.
Oh, you did? You get them? Like, is it like the same, like once a month, basically?
So I feel the same as you. I fully support the days that we have designed. So for looking and reviewing at those internal days, that's something we could pull together with our team leads, involve the staff members that are on the board to look at and identify what would be those days that we typically have.
So what's the, I
The
guess,
vote tonight is the parent-facing calendar, which
No.
is, and you'll see at the bottom, if you compare, if we go back to last year's calendar on the screen, all this information at the bottom, we just edited a little bit to make sure it was really parent-facing, and that it, when you see the color copy, that it really matches up here, and so parents can easily identify beginning and the end of the quarter, report card dates, holidays, just really thinking through and make sure that it matches up nicely.
so I was gonna ask, what's the justification for making fewer?
So last year, we had a group of people that were working on the calendar, and so while we were doing the calendar, we did it earlier than what had historically been done at NYOS. It was done more in the spring, but most districts submit their calendars around January, and so we went ahead and did that work and replicated for both years, because we felt like once we showed 3 options and we talked through the pros and the cons, and we honed in on the one calendar, we said, okay, what would that look like next year? And those were the 2 we brought forward. It's not uncommon sometimes for districts to have 2 at a time.
I think maybe what Richard is asking is why are there fewer full half, like
Yeah,
free
why-
half
why
days
is it
for
gone
secondary?
from-
And I think maybe it was just like you misspoke in saying 4 instead of 6.
Yeah.
That there's no intention to reduce the number of days.
No. I have no intention of shortening the amount of days internally that teachers get off as true half days.
Okay. Are you, is there any thought about adding one for every month?
That's something I would involve the whole community to discuss.
I know, like, for like the holiday one, December, like that last Friday basically is the half day, like, I don't know if it's labeled or not, I can't remember
I'd have
on
to
the
go
last
back.
calendar.
Is this part of like compensation committee more than
Mhm.
like just getting this approved for the parent facing? Cause I know like I've got parents emailing me, they're like, when is fall break gonna be? And like, they really wanna know, so I feel like we need to get this approved tonight.
And that's the reason why we did 2 of them last year, so
Right.
people could like predict,
Really?
even though it
Yeah.
wasn't voted on today, you could kind of look ahead and say, okay, we're gonna be these sort of
Did we
dates.
post that one somewhere? I didn't,
The
'cause on the
proposed
website.
calendar for this year?
Okay.
No.
Okay. So it was, yeah, I remember
didn't-
it coming up on the board, but if it's not published anywhere.
We didn't publish them last year either.
So it wasn't official.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as a draft or something, right?
Richard, would it be okay if we voted on this so that we can get the calendar approved for families to plan? And none of the half days would actually change in voting on this, and you can bring that, or we can bring that for a future
Oh, yeah,
discussion.
we're gonna vote on it, right?
Yeah, but like,
your proposal wouldn't change. Your proposal's not part of the vote.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
And we can certainly talk about it in compensation committee, right? Because basically, we would be giving the teachers that extra day off,
Yeah.
right? So,
Okay. So do I have a motion to accept the 26-27 academic calendar?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
On, all in favor? Okay. All opposed? Dr. Rosa, so this calendar will go on the website as soon as possible so that our families can start looking for 26-27. Okay, next item on the agenda, 5C, consider and take possible action on proposed board resolution and associated policy related to a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious texts in accordance with section 25.0823 of the Texas Education Code.
Yeah, I can talk about this.
Are we
I thought we heard in public comments some pretty clear comments on this. The governance committee did review this. I reviewed it at length. I watched the hearings. And at the end of all that discussion, what I would want the board to really focus on, not only as a public comment, but this did not come from NYOS. This is from the legislature, and they sent it down and said, within 6 months of the effective date of this bill, you will vote on this policy. You get to evaluate it, do whatever you want, but no one from the community, no one from administration said, hey, can we think about having this policy? There's also nothing to prohibit us from ever looking at this later, but as of right now, we are strictly voting on what the legislature told us to vote on, when they told us to vote on it. And the governance committee sent in the recommendation of the report to not adopt this policy at this time. You heard the public comments as well. And so, if there's any questions, go ahead. I mean, I'm prepared to make a motion on this.
So, to be clear, right, we're voting on not adopting this policy.
Correct. Well,
sorry,
that's the motion I'm prepared to make.
Can I, just to be sure, like, the last paragraph is the one that school added, saying we're not.
That's a resolution that others have used. Well, we don't think it's necessary. Just not adopting the policy and moving on is an option, and I'd like to make that motion. Unless somebody needs clarification or. Okay, so I move that on February 10th, the governing body of NYOS School District will not adopt a resolution or a corresponding policy that would require a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious text as permitted by Senate Bill 11 from the 89th Texas Legislative Session, which took effect September 1st, 2025. Further, this record vote of governing body is taking place within 6 months of the bill becoming effective as required by the law. I move that we not adopt the policy.
Okay, any further discussion? Richard. Any further discussion? Okay, just one, Dr. Rose, if there is any accommodations for anyone that would need it, how do we handle?
Absolutely, we already have that in place. If somebody needs a special place or a special time or accommodation, we make those accommodations for students.
It's been motioned and properly second. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Next item, discuss and vote on policy 4.607, group 4 personnel, use of artificial intelligence.
Sure. So this policy comes forward to us as part of the legislature as well. We got recommendations from our legal firm to put a policy in place. It exists specifically because AI tools, including note-taking and transcription, while they're convenient, they create a serious confidentiality, accuracy, and legal risk. And so basically, in a nutshell, the policy states that employees, not students, employees are disallowed from using any tools that would allow you to take notes and submit anything through AI, because this would be, if you were putting in student information, would be a violation of FERPA law. And so that's it in a nutshell. If there are any concerns or questions.
Questions for Dr. Rosa on the policy?
This wouldn't affect any ADA accommodations.
I was a new teacher and I had questions and I put that student's name in their accommodation, that would be a violation of the policy. So you can't put a student's name and accommodations in through. Or there are tools that could communicate to you if you were the director of special ed, and that would not be an appropriate communication tool.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have a motion to accept this group for personnel use of artificial intelligence.
I'll make a motion to adopt policy.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Someone second, all in favor? Okay, motion passes unanimously, thank you. Next item, discuss 24-25 taper.
Yes.
Federal.
Yes, so it is a requirement of the law that we present the taper report. We've actually gone over this information twice now in our board meetings. So this is the 24-25 taper, which is the Texas Academic Performance Report. It's compiled by TEA, and every district and campus must report this, and it shows you what information is available. Taper is published in two different forms. As you see, there's a comprehensive report, and then there's also a PDF version online. This includes only the major details. There's a link to the accountability manual that you can find online if you have questions. There are multiple places and ways that you can access Taper. One is through our NYOS website. We're required by law to post it. It's also available on the Taper website. There's a PDF version, and it's also available in our library. It includes star performance, grade levels, performance by designation, end of course exams. It includes all grade levels, all progress, what is our priority year status for our students. It also includes attendance, graduation rates, dropout rates, 4-year study, 5-year extended longitudinal graduation rates, and 6-year extended longitudinal graduation rates. It includes our graduation plan. It includes CCMR, which is College, Career, and Military Readiness, our Graduates by Plan, our AP, IB, our SAT, our TSIA, and other post-secondary indicators including advanced dual credit courses, graduates enrolled in Texas institutions, associate degrees, and approved industry certificates. It includes student information if you're interested in our enrollment, our ethnic distribution, our economic disadvantaged groups, our English language learners, our students with disciplinary placements, at-risk students, students with disabilities, 504 students, students with dyslexia, on and on. All of our student information. It also has staff information, our total staff, our paraprofessionals, our educational aides, et cetera, et cetera. These are all items that are listed and available on the Taper report. It includes our PEAMS data, which is our enrollment and attendance data. So you can see our financial data is included as we receive per pupil allotments. Our campus performance objectives. There you can see our campus improvement plan. Campus performance goals, our elementary goals, and our secondary goals. These are all items that we reviewed in the past, but just quickly reminding you what's available on Taper. Special education determination, report on violent or criminal incidents, not incidences. All the reports from 24-25. So the most current one you can see is 23-24 available. We have a report on our students once they leave us and go on from NYOS. And then there's also a glossary included. I swear I'm clicking, it's not doing anything. Alright, so our Texas accountability tools and reports, the Texas School website, Texas School accountability site, and Texas Performance Reporting System. Is that what it is?
Running out of juice?
Just trying to make it look different. Can you acknowledge it? Okay. Resources and availability.
Gone?
Yep, I went back. That is the taper report. All of these slides will be available online as we usually load them, so if you want to review them, they'll be available to you.
I just want, the taper report is great data and great information, and it is undigestible.
Yeah.
And so if anybody is interested in getting like a simplified version of that, the texasschools.gov website does like a nice, clean, kind of like layperson, accessible overview, and you can just type in NYOS and it'll break it down for you.
That's an excellent suggestion.
Yeah. Also, if you have questions, you could always just ask to come and see me, and we could talk through it as well.
Okay. Any other questions about taper? Thanks, Justin. Okay, next I have board advocacy. As I mentioned to you guys before, Ben and I meet with TGCSA, the Texas Public Charter School Association, every month. I believe we're meeting with them this week. And they talked about, right now we're talking about advocacy in the interim, right? And so right now we are officially in the interim years, 2026. And so it, just, they talked about what they're doing during the interim and the things that we can do, right? They're looking at legislation, they meet with us and surveyed us on what are the topics that may be important for our schools, and they will grab those as their priorities looking into the legislative session. And so one thing they did want us to do, and they've been telling us about having those one-on-one relationships, and I was always like, well, how do I do that? Like, do I just reach out? Ben is like, yes, just reach out. Because he's familiar with that, but TPCSA did help me. So I did meet with a couple of candidates this week. So to get those one-on-one relationships. So I met with a candidate for State Board of Education District 5, Stephanie Bazan. We talked about the role of the SBOE in setting academic standards, and she's very passionate about charter schools. She's knowledgeable about charter schools, which I think some lawmakers don't really understand that, but she is very much charter friendly. And then I also met with candidate for House District 50, Samantha Lopez. We talked more broadly on public education policy. She's very passionate about charters as well. She, her mom works at a charter school, so she really knows the charter school world. But it was great to talk about our community, our teachers, and the work that we do at NYOS, and she is really interested in learning more about our schools. And so I thought that was interesting. It's only Tuesday, and I met with both of them this week. So that was a really good conversation. And my reason for doing that is so that our voices are heard, right? For NYOS charter schools, so when they're making laws, that they understand the work, how it informs us, and how it can, our voices heard. Yes, and then there's a matrix for anyone else, board members that have any one-on-one relationships, and then they also, it's 30 years of public charter schools, so they invite everybody to share your story. That's, teachers, board members, parents, anyone that would like to share their story, and they're sharing them on their social media platforms.
I'd like to just point out on Nina's, we are in a really unique spot here because both of the state representatives that have the majority of our district are not coming back. So we will have new representation in 2027. And I think there's 10 candidates now. If you're driving up to Lamar and Palmer here, you see all the signs. There's a lot of people running for those seats. And so I encourage everyone to go to every single person's website, and every single person, give them a call on the website. A lot of times they'll answer right now. But the primary, early voting starts next week. It's going to run for about 2 weeks, and then we have the primary. And that's going to probably determine these races. And Nina has already met with Sam Resendez, who is running for James Tolerico's seat. he's running for Senate, and Stephanie Bazan, who is running for Gina Hinojosa's seat. So whichever district you may be in, I used to have a chart for all of you, but I don't right now. Just note who came and took that time already. Well, we need to try to know everybody. Those two came and met with NYOS.
All right. So, superintendent's update, I always like to start with my favorite part, which is bragging on our students. In elementary, we have a JAG brag. We're so excited to recognize Miss Ruthwin's 5th grade class as this week Jiggy winners. Throughout the year, Miss Ruthwin's students have truly come together to build a strong, supportive classroom community. NYOS Elementary proudly hosted our 11th annual elementary literacy night. I was there. And vocabulary parade. Were you there also?
No, my child.
Oh, your child was there. Students proudly showcased their creative costumes while celebrating rich vocabulary and a love of reading. It was my first time to go. I didn't go last year, so I was super happy to see it this year. The excitement, enthusiasm, and family involvement truly made the night special. Our 2nd graders are participating in a service learning project centered on the principles of reduce, reuse, and recycle. Students created posters highlighting the importance of each concept and took action by helping clean up litter around the school campus. Secondary, we have photos up here from the Hadestown oh my gosh, my mouth stopped working. Hadestown play. I had it on my schedule to attend, and then the I-State happened. Last year and this year, I attended the majority of the productions that were put on by the theater group, and I'm always thrilled not only to be there, but to bring my family to them. So we're super proud of that. On January 30th, the senior class went to the Austin Public Library downtown to explore the free and available resources that they offer and the space as a whole. The NYOS Family Leadership Council is a volunteer advisory council to NYOS leadership. The council will function as a forum to discuss and make recommendations on school policy, infrastructure, and campus initiatives before a change is enacted. This is strictly an advisory role. The council will be selected based upon applications and to ensure a fair and accurate representation of all students. Selected council members will be asked to participate in monthly council meetings. We intend to hold those on weeknights from 5:30 to 6:30 for working parents so they can all be there during the school year. We have pulled the current applications and we're looking for a few more applications to ensure all students are represented in all families. I want to speak to a couple of the comments tonight. I actually met with the governance committee for the board, but I also met with PTA leadership because I don't want to replicate the work of the PTA. In fact, I try to just stay out of PTA business and celebrate what the PTA is doing because I think they're phenomenal. I asked them if they wanted to own this part of the work, and they said they did not. I asked them if they felt like it was okay to have this representative body, and they said yes. So the purpose, like I said, is as items come up, we can't possibly get 1,800 of our parents together at any given time. And I really do listen to and try to continue on all the things that make us not ordinary. And so that close family feel and making sure that we're hearing from all of the pieces of our community is so important. Not just the people that I know and have a relationship on a daily basis, but a wide pre-K through 12 group of parents. And so that's why I opened it up to applications. I'm not selecting the members by myself. I will include campus administration, members of the board, and I will also be looking at what grade levels those parents, if a parent has a 1st grader and a 7th grader, I'm taking notes so I can make sure I don't all end up with just pre-K parents. They're all 5th grade parents, that we have that wide representation. So my purpose tonight is advertising the Family Leadership Council to get a last push of a lot of applications. And some of you in the audience have applied, and I appreciate it. I want to make sure that we give everybody the opportunity to apply so that we can then get started. What kind of things are we going to be looking at? I have a long list. There are decisions that need to be made for next year, and I want to include our families in those conversations and tell them these are some things that are coming up. It could be laws that have to be put in place. They could be needs based upon enrollment. The list goes on, and I want to put those on the table and us all discuss them and have a recommendation that I can carry forward. Any questions from the board about the Family Leadership Council?
Yes. So you're saying this is clearly in addition to the PTA?
It's not in addition.
Well, I mean, I'm saying it's another data point for you to talk to parents to consider, whatever type of feedback they provide, right? So Yeah, okay, addition, it's another data point, another group of people that are gonna represent students and parents that'll
Yes.
give you feedback.
I can honestly say I've not attended every single PTA meeting. I attend the ones that I'm invited to. And when I met with the PTA leadership, I described kind of the work that I wanted to do. And I know that the PTA does a million things, among them supporting our teachers, and especially through the grants and all the fundraising that they do. And so I wanted to make sure that we weren't in competition or layering on top of each other. And so they felt like they gave me the okay to go forward with this. It was something they were already doing. I by no means would have asked to add this on.
And you will continue to,
Engage with the PTA, yes. I would love to have PTA members on the Family Leadership Council, right?
thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Anything
so-
else?
Yeah, sorry if I missed it, I was actually looking at the form, and may have tuned out for a second. But can you describe more of the selection process?
For sure. I'm glad you asked again, because if you were thinking about something else, somebody else was thinking about something else too. So I took the initial responses to the applications, and I looked at every person. I marked like what grade levels their children were in, so I could make sure I'm getting a broad representation. And then I also asked for board feedback and for admin feedback. I haven't made any decisions. That was just on the initial applications. I'm doing another push for more parents. We put it in on the Facebook page, on NYOS Notes. So trying to get like that last opportunity, because people get busy, and then we'll again look at it. There won't be one person making that decision.
Okay, so who exactly does make the decision?
The group of people that I pulled together, representation from elementary and secondary admin, and representation from the board.
So there'll be a vote.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Somebody's calling out, and I don't know who I'm responding to.
This is not a board vote. We won't be
No.
voting
No.
on the membership of the Family Leadership
No.
Council. This is also a very common structure that many
Yes.
districts have. I just wanna name that, this is not unusual.
I think it's smart to have a set of people that have made the commitment to be there when the council meets, and it's a big commitment. I understand that completely, and that can grow and learn together and get better at it, and can report back and has not only gets the credibility of the board, but the credibility of the community, and I think it's great. Like I'm all for it, and I look forward to hearing from them.
In the spirit of transparency, can we say whenever the decision gets made, who made the decision? So people aren't going, oh, some group of people made a decision.
For sure, I can appreciate those people who helped make the decision.
Thank you. And I'm not volunteering, I'm just.
I was already jotting your name down.
Maybe in 2006.
Yeah. Any other comments before I move on? Okay. So, we want to celebrate some of the upcoming events. We have a winter open house on February the 19th. We have a Hamilton sing-along, which sounds like a lot of fun, watch party, on Friday the 20th. Amplify Austin is coming up March 4th through March 5th. As a reminder, all the funds that we raise go to helping pay for certifications. I literally just had a conversation today with an aide who is interested in teaching. And so all of those monies go to help that. They go to help technology for our classrooms for secondary next year. Like 100% of our funds are used in support of our classrooms. So please participate in Amplify Austin. NYOS Spring Break, March 9th through the 20th for teachers and for students. District office folks are still here. We get a week off. Golf tournament on Thursday, April 2nd. If you don't play golf, but you know somebody who does love to play golf, please encourage them to participate. I'm a non-golfer, and so last year as we went on our first golf tournament journey, I was very curious how it was going to turn out, and it was absolutely so much fun. Every single person that showed up, you could tell they had a great time. They were very clear they were there to support the kids, and these were a lot of times like the people we buy paper towels from, the people we buy our milk from, all of our vendors, all of our neighbors, anybody who's involved, and they were so focused that they were there to have fun, but do good for our kids, and they had a fantastic time. And we're repeating that experience again and just trying to make it better. So please, if there's anyone you know that enjoys playing golf, if you're married to somebody who likes to play golf, if their friends like to play golf, just encourage them to do so, and we'll be putting out our sponsorship packet as well, so if you need to print something off to share it with them, we'll be happy to make that available to you or to email it to you. It was such a fun event last year. Then the 5th grade graduation is coming up on May the 21st, and the secondary graduation on May the 22nd, so sorry, 22nd. Human errors. So sorry. We will be sending information about both of those events for the locations. We secured great events, and so we will share those with you. Staffing, Matthew May is going to come up and talk to us about staffing.
All right, good evening. So real quick, some staffing updates. So attendance, we did see a slight decrease from 96.79 to 96.76. Our
Is that year to
substitute
date,
fill rates.
Matthew, or is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Substitute fill rates. Let's see. I lost where it was. Elementary sub fill rate is up from 74.51 to 79.81, and secondary went down from 96 to 82. And this is for the week ending February 6th. District retention, we did see a decrease from 88.89 to 87.55. And our teacher retention had a slight decrease as well from 96.60 to 95.24%.
Is that?
It's this
Okay,
school
so that's
year,
the whole
right?
school year. It is school
The
year.
retention, yeah, is from July to February 6th.
Does that mean teachers like left
Yeah.
during the year?
Yes.
Do you happen to know, Matthew, how many of those vacancies are EA positions?
The 15, so that is including intent to returns for next year too. So that's why, thank you for that. That's why it jumped up, it doubled. So we do have the 3, like the pool positions open, so that's included in that as well. But I'll have to get that information, I don't know off the top of my head.
Y'all just went into some jargon.
Educational.
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 Just that one.
Yeah.
Pool positions and something doubled and.
Yeah, the total vacancies, I didn't call it out. So the total vacancies went from 7 to 15.
Okay.
Because our intent to return is already out. And so as people are saying they're not returning, then we're opening those positions as the principals have those conversations.
Got it. Thank you.
For next year.
Any questions for Matthew?
Can we get year over year, prior school year or something like that to?
I can tell you
compare?
teacher retention this time last year was 91%.
That's why I was asking, is just to see the trends year over year. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll include that next time.
Thank you. Yeah, I like charts, so if you have a trend chart,
I actually do.
Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew.
Okay. Next item are our committee business, and the first thing we have is governance committee, which we will tonight discuss and vote on amended 25-26 student parent handbook, specifically the student uniform. And 2 options were sent to board members, so you should be familiar with those now, and I will ask Dr. Rosas to kind of explain them.
Sure. So as Nina stated, I have submitted 2 documents for your review. As a reminder, when I came on board in June of 2020, all the years, 2024, year before last, uniforms were one of the items that was brought forward to me as an issue to be addressed, both by family members of existing enrolled students and also community members and visitors to the campus. So that's how it came to be something that we worked on. We formed a committee last year. Ms. Benoit, who was the principal at the time, worked with the director of development, had multiple committee meetings with parents, with students, and brought recommendations to Ms. Benoit, who then turned them over to me. That consisted of the creation of the uniform that we submitted at the beginning of this year, 25-26. At that time, we had community concern, and so we moved back to the uniform of 24-25. The survey that was created as a part of that committee was from secondary parents. There were 274 of them. 60% of those parents responded to the survey that supported the uniform. Only 19% did not support the uniform. Almost 95% of families stated that they were familiar with their uniform, and over half recognized the uniform was not currently enforced. Half of the families, 58% surveyed, were satisfied with the uniform, and 20.5% were dissatisfied. Almost 60% stated that they felt the uniform benefited their child. For that reason, we wrote the uniform that we had for 25-26, which ultimately was not in place very long. We moved back to the previous uniform. The board was unable to approve a current uniform, and so we've been under the 24-25 uniform. So what you're going to see today, you have a document that's marked A. It's the 25-26 uniform, but with some changes made. I want to point out to you. On page 2, under 6th through 8th grade, you see on Thursday for middle school students, college t-shirts are one of the choices, and then on Friday, free choice within the dress code. The other change, if you go to page 3, is that for high school, the same thing Thursday, college t-shirts, and free dress when designated by administrators, and then free choice on Fridays. There is the same dress code below for those free choice days. You also have document B, which is much shorter. Document B is a marriage of the recommendations made by the student council and also existing dress code items into one document. So this is not the totality for option B. Elementary and middle school would stay as written, and it would just be the high school that would change, and they would, instead of a uniform, would have a dress code.
Okay, questions for Dr. Rosas? Okay, as she mentioned, looking at the data, which was less than a year ago, right? Last time we weren't sure if they were all secondary parents, so reminder that they are all secondary parents. That goes from that. So just so that we're clear about that.
And there was one survey, we double checked the survey, we didn't do more surveys to get the answers we wanted. That's the data we have.
So governance has now had 2 meetings on this. Each of them were quite lengthy on this, and so like I say, I don't want to belabor it, but we've already belabored it. But when you look at memo A, what the main thing that it's doing is, depending on whether you looked on the website, whether you looked at a handwritten pamphlet, whether you heard it from in the hallway or saw a poster, you might have gotten a different dress code in the past. They did not all match. The handbook didn't match the website didn't match the this and that. That was consistent. Some of the word choice, free dress, free choice, this and that, meant different things to different people. I understand what I know it means to me in my head, but that doesn't mean that Richard hears the same thing. So option A, what it really does a good job of is putting it all in one place, trying to clean up as best as it can, and then the expectation would be that it rolls out across every single platform evenly, which would really solve some of the headache, for sure. Like, not all of it by any means, but
And it relaxes the current policy a little bit, right?
yeah, it does a little bit, but I think it really, what it does is all of the confusing pieces get cleaned up, and I think everybody agrees. There was never a discussion to take away free dress Fridays, right? We've heard that a lot, but have not heard that from one person on the board. Has never been in any of these documents. That was never a discussion. It was, did you say free choice or free dress? Well, I have a free dress Friday. You're talking about free choice. Like, that was what was happening, and so that was never on there. In actuality, there was also a proposition to expand those days, right? Which isn't reflective of option A here. So, if anybody has any questions for Dr. Rosas, go ahead, but I really think that that's important to understand that this is cleaning it up. It reflects the college t-shirts, which we were trying to fix back in the fall, which was a miscommunication, it wasn't trying to be more strict. Make sure that everyone's on the same page, because then, whichever policy we pick, I expect the board to all get behind admin that this needs to be enforced, so that we don't end up in the same place again. And so, Board President, whenever you're ready, I'm prepared to make a motion, but if anybody has questions or discussion, go ahead.
I just want to say real fast that enforcement is the key issue.
Yeah.
And as I discussed last time,
me, it's the big stickler. I mean, students have said that, you know, they want to be able to express themselves in high school through free dress. I think that is important, but also in my 10 years here, it has been, lack of a better term, a disaster to enforce this every year. And I watch my administrators struggle, strain to try to make it work, and it always falls apart. We are we are a small charter school that is underfunded, we are understaffed in pretty much all areas, including with our assistant principals. And I think we need to accept that reality and find ways to help our assistant principals function and do the things that are most important. And I don't think enforcing a uniform policy is as important as so many other things that can affect, you know, students. I just don't see, there's no data to me that like uniforms leads to better, you know, better learning outcomes for students, right? You know, so I do just want everybody to understand that it's been a great challenge to enforce. And if we were to go with option A, I don't see those issues going away.
I just, okay, discussion. Okay, I completely agree with everything that you said, and I think like one of the things that it compels me by option B is the fact that there's like such a burden on staff and administration to enforce. However, having a dress code will still mean that staff and administrators are gonna have to enforce a dress code. And as a woman, and you know, I'm mindful and hyper aware of like what that means in terms of policing the things that women and girls wear. And it's gonna get down to how big are the straps on your tank top. And so it just puts more responsibility on students to really follow the dress code if this is what the board ultimately votes on. So I just want to name that because it puts the adults in the building in an even harder position.
At the same time, I think it would reduce the number of offenses significantly such that it would be more manageable for the assistant principals to deal with the situation. Additionally, I do predict you will get a lot of buy-in from students who will, I mean, they've been talking about this since the day I arrived at this school. They will buy in large numbers, they will accept, they will understand that they've been listened to, they will appreciate that, and many of them will do their best to maintain the new dress code. And it makes it a lot easier for teachers and administrators to address students who have dress code, right? Because it's like, come on, we got rid of the uniform policy, right? What more can we do for y'all, right? There has to be a dress code. And so I think you're gonna get less pushback from students. Most students at this school, if not all of them, are extremely reasonable human beings, even though they're teenagers, right? And like they will, I think most of them will respond positively, and I just think many of the issues will go away. And I also think we can give these students an opportunity to show that they can have that level of maturity and make those decisions to go to school dressed appropriately. And I don't know if Camp has anything to say, he's a student.
I mean, if Mr. Struby's input doesn't mean enough, like I know I've had countless conversations over my time in high school at least, with students talking about how like we just want the like free choice, free dress, like what you're saying. It's like just being able to wear just like a graphic tee, because why not like any crazy one, but just like comfy clothes, you know. And like we understand, like from the conversations I've had with like students, we understand we're not gonna, like there has to be some rules. Like it's not like we're gonna be able to wear whatever we want, but it's like we get more options, and that's nice. It's fun. And like I don't know, I just want y'all to know that we recognize there has to be rules. There has to be some guidelines, but I do believe, kind of like Mr. Shu was saying, like this would, like in reality, if y'all vote on option A, like that would go in place next school year, right? Immediately. Okay, there's gonna be so many cases. Like there's gonna be so many cases. Option B would, like there would still be cases, but like how many less, you know? Like, yeah, I still recognize it. There will be cases. I know that, but it would take a huge weight off of, well, I can imagine, off of teachers' shoulders
agree with Mark and Camp. And I would also like to add, if everybody, if we decide to implement Plan B, which I hope everybody does, I would use Jessica's quote. If a kid says, this isn't go far enough or whatever, I would say, well, the board has voted to reinforce your decision to offer Plan B. We're giving you the opportunity to show that you can be responsible. So make it count, right? We're putting it on you guys. You've wanted this. Basically, I don't see any reason why any of them are going to complain. Of course, there'll be the off kid, you know, that you have to. But it looks good, and like we're putting it on them. You guys want the responsibility, students. If this goes through, it's on you. So show us that you can be responsible, and that's how I'm gonna frame it. Like if Plan B goes through.
Okay, I'm going to entertain a motion to adopt option A.
I'll make a motion that we adopt option A.
I'll second.
Okay. And before we go on, I do want to say that looking at the data and seeing what the data says from less than a year ago, and also as a parent and a board member, I appreciate the equity and the clarity of school uniforms across all grades. Any other further discussion?
The only thing I want to say is thank you to the governance committee for spending so much time on this. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor for option A? All opposed?
Is anybody abstaining? No, I got it.
Okay, motion does not pass. So I will entertain a motion to adopt option B.
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
Richard, okay, all in favor? Okay, all opposed? That's on, okay. Okay, motion passes for option B. And so I want to be clear that by voting for this, again, we've said that we are affirming our expectation that it will be enforced by our administration with fairness and consistency. Okay. Academic Oversight Committee. Yes. Oh, wait, we have chat members. That's also part of governance.
So, Nurse Wood was not able to be here tonight, so she asked me to share. The School Health Advisory Council, or SHAC, serves as an advisory committee to the board of directors as required by state law. Here at NYOS, you've heard me say before, in the past we had a SHAC committee, but it just fell away over time. It wasn't required, and now the law is requiring it again, so every single district will have a SHAC committee. The SHAC provides guidance and recommendations on health education, wellness initiatives, and policies that support student health and safety. Its purpose as a committee is to ensure that local community values are reflected in health-related curriculum and programming. This diverse membership allows the SHAC to offer balanced, informed perspectives while remaining independent from board decision-making. Through collaboration and community input, the SHAC helps the board make well-informed decisions that support students' physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So we want to welcome to the SHAC tonight Robin Adams, who is a parent to 4 NYOS students. Shayna Singh, who is a parent of a NYOS first grader. Nikki Case, who is a parent of a NYOS 4th grader. Stephen Cummins, parent of a NYOS kindergarten student. Kirsten Anderson, parent of a NYOS kindergarten student. Victoria Matt, who is a parent of a NYOS 2nd grader. Susie Ferguson, who is a parent of a NYOS 5th and 9th grader. Laura Thetford, who is a parent of a NYOS kindergarten student. Patty Kent, who is a parent of a NYOS 12th grader and employee. And Nurse Maddie Wood, parent of a NYOS 1st grader and employee. Welcome to the SHAC, and we appreciate the members. Now, academic oversight. Would you look at the clicker? Yeah.
Where's the best place to point it? We don't know yet.
We don't know.
I'll find out. Okay, just as a reminder.
Can I pause? I have that we're supposed to vote on the SHAC committee.
We do need to vote on
I'm sorry, that's me. Do I have a motion to accept the SHAC committee members as presented?
I'll move that we accept all the members for the SHAC committee.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Hassan, second, all in favor? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Sorry, Joseph.
No, okay.
Nice catch, Sarah.
Good. Okay, as a reminder, in our academic oversight committee update to the board, we try and answer 4 questions. What does success look like for this goal in the district improvement plan? We take one goal each meeting. How well are we doing against our goal? Are we on track? Why is that? If we're on track, what do we attribute that success to? If we're off track, what do we think it's because of? And what are we doing in response? So this month we are working on goal 4, which is around T-test calibration. So T-test is the teacher evaluation system. It's new to NYOS this year. Is that right, Dr. Rosa?
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, T-test is new to NYOS this year?
No, it was
last
second
year.
year.
Second year, okay. And it is in part, it was adopted in part because it's approved by the state for TIA, for teacher incentive allotment. So this year the goal for goal 4 is eventually we want for the T-test ratings to increase in 2 of the key domains around instruction. But we didn't want to put that pressure on us this year because we wanted to really focus on calibration. And calibration is really tied to, do our teacher evaluation ratings match our student performance outcomes? So if you have teacher evaluation ratings that are really, really high and you have student performance that is not, then there's something that you need to examine in between those 2 things. Or the other way around. So the performance objective for this year is to increase the calibration of T-tests, evaluation ratings, and student performance. We want to bring those lines closer together. So why T-test? Well, I kind of went through this a little bit, but you'll see up here on the top, I'll start at the top right. So the NYOS designations versus statewide expectations. So if you recall, with TIA, with teacher incentive allotment, the state can designate, or NYOS through the state's approval can designate 3 designation levels: recognized, exemplary, and masters. The idea is, you're probably gonna have very few masters teachers because it's gonna take that's they're the best of the best. Exemplary and recognized, they'll be proportionate to what we would expect to have, based off of student performance. If you see this top bar graph on the top here, the blue is masters, the green is exemplary, and the purple is recognized. What NYOS has is on the top line, and what the state would have expected us to have is that bottom row. So the state would have expected us to have about 5% masters, and we had about 14% masters. The state would have expected us to have about, I can't read that, 15% exemplary, and we had about 25% exemplary. The state would have expected us to have about 13% recognized teachers, and we had about 10% recognized teachers, a little closer to 11. And so what that tells us is that some variation is probably acceptable, but you don't want to see that wild variation, particularly that we see in exemplary and masters. And the state won't approve NYOS for TIA if we aren't calibrated. So it doesn't mean if you don't pass data validation. So it doesn't mean you have to match to the decimal point. I want to do Paul Jomini credit here, and he will correct me if I'm wrong in any of this. It's not that you have to get to the decimal point, but you can't be wildly off without some justification for that. So what you'll see here on this bottom table, this scatter plot, for example, we had 2 teachers that were both rated exemplary, and one had student performance outcomes where 36% of their students were meeting or mastering in their based off of their assessment, and 86% for the other teacher. That's pretty off. That's pretty wide. So what you really want to see is that teacher who's getting these out of the park outcomes with students, they're probably exemplary, and the teacher that wasn't, we need to look at why they were rated exemplary and if there's something at play there in how they were assessed. Questions about just this so far? Okay.
And so T-test gives us those ratings.
T-test is just the evaluation rubric. It's the observation rubric and evaluation rubric that you use. So the student performance is based off of STAR.
Right.
And then at the same time, any good, strong teacher evaluation system has multiple measures. So you have the outcomes, and then you have the sort of less hard data pieces that are usually accounted for, you collect evidence on through observation. And so that's the evaluation rubric, and that's T-tests.
The trick is the observations are just really a snapshot into the teacher's world. So sometimes the observer can go in there and see a spectacular lesson, but like,
I remember when my
what's
teachers
happening
got
on other days
evaluated
may not
for
reflect
observing.
the realities, right? It's a difficult process.
It is.
To measure appropriately.
Yeah.
So the design of it is to have one formal per semester and then multiple informal, so you do get a feel.
Right, so it shouldn't just be one in an ideal world. But we'll keep going. So the beginning of your T-test calibration, so what NYOS did this year was it engaged in a really intentional calibration process where administrators reviewed data, expectations, rubrics, observation look-fors, just to really understand, like, okay, we all are looking at the same materials, we're understanding the same things. They went as a group to observe the same teachers, so they're seeing the same thing in our NYOS context, not a video of some other kid and some other teacher in some other district, in our context. And then they evaluated them based off of the evaluation rubric, and then they unpacked their evaluation ratings together and shared their evidence. And to the extent that there was any divergence in their ratings, they really tried to understand why that would be, and also examine what might be at play under that. For example, it is not uncommon because you're having multiple appraisers who might not know the teacher that they're looking at, they're observing. They might see something that somebody who knows that teacher really well isn't seeing, or vice versa. And so having those fresh eyes might sort of illustrate or bring something to light that the appraiser hadn't originally seen. So it really helps just inject more objectivity into a process that can be very subjective. Then they did it again at mid-year, so they did it twice. Okay, good job. So are we on track is the question, second question that we're trying to answer. I will tell you in a second on the next slide. But what you see here on these two charts, so at the campus level, so this is your secondary and elementary, and those are what the designation distributions would be. And so you'll see at secondary, you'd have almost 6% masters, almost 6% exemplary, almost 6%, and no recognized. And then for elementary, you would have 7 or 8% exemplary and about 21% recognized. And then the bottom chart shows it by test, and it's comparable in sort of the range of the designations. So what we're seeing is that there's more observation norms are being established for the district. So you're seeing what you would call inter-rater reliability, what one appraiser is observing is similar to what another appraiser is observing. You don't want to say well, with this person I get a 3 and with this person I get a 4. It should be the same. Increased collaboration between campuses is what I understand. Deepening the understanding of expectations, increased likelihood that NYOS will pass the data validation for TIA, which is really the critical next step in being approved for TIA. And then dimension-specific analysis, so really getting into the T-test rubric and looking at, down to more specific bullet point level, what is it that we're seeing that's different. So the answer is yes, we are on track. So if you'll see last year, if we had gone with those designations, our designations would have been 14% masters, 25% exemplary, 11% recognized. This year, at mid-year, we would be, depending on which poll you take, either the test or the campus, we'd be between 2 and 6% being master's designation, 6 and 11% being exemplary, and 14 to 21% being recognized. We're much closer to being calibrated towards TEA's projections. The one that's the most off is recognized. And so I will tell you what I think, and this is just me. What is happening is you're starting to tighten your calibration, but it's hard to let go of that last rung. And so we're going to have increase in the percent that are recognized as you decrease the numbers who are masters and exemplary. So we'll see how that shows. Any questions on this?
In this, so non-certified teachers aren't eligible for teacher incentive allotment.
Sure.
So they're being treated like every other teacher, as they should. So they're falling into these percentages. How does that mess with the data, or how do we track it?
I don't want to speak for Paul, but I'm very confident that Paul, because you have like eligible for designation, and then for like first is like the first cut. So he would like, I'm assuming, would filter those out when you're actually submitting for the data validation.
I think you can see where I'm going with this is like if you have an extremely high performing uncertified teacher, it would financially benefit everyone, the teacher mostly, to have that conversation like, look, we go get this done, that can all come back in a windfall every year. Just thinking about how that, as we give them these scores and identify them, some of those conversations might come up.
Yeah, I don't know, it's an interesting question to see like how the performance ratings or projected designations fall out between certified and uncertified staff. I don't have that information, but it would be an interesting cut to take.
I was under the impression that uncertified were part of the pool.
I wanna get more information before I definitively say. Because even within TIA, it's not even so simple as just STAR. You have people who don't give a STAR exam, and so Paul's done a phenomenal job, and he has a meeting, I believe, today or tomorrow, with new sub-pop groups of teachers who don't even take STAR tests.
I'm sorry, uncertified teachers who meet their district's performance criteria may earn designation.
And I think NYOS wrote theirs too.
Yes.
Included.
Ah, that's great.
Yes. So thank you for that correction. That's from the TIA website. I'm just telling you where it's linked. Great questions.
Ruby's face.
What?
He's like, how about that?
Okay. Why? So in talking with Paul, what we came to was why are we doing so? Like, why has calibration increased? Well, it's probably we're getting tighter calibration because we're paying attention to it, which means appraisers are sort of more normed and have a shared understanding on what each performance level means and what they're looking for. And so what we're gonna do in response, we're gonna keep doing this. In addition, what Paul described was digging into both individual appraiser and systemic reasons for miscalibration. So there might be some specific things between with one appraiser, we're like, this appraiser is like always a little bit off from what we would expect. So we want to taking a look at that, and then also system-wide looking like, why is it that we see all of our 5th grade teachers are like below what we would expect them to be? I'm making up the 3rd teachers, and it might be because it's like, oh, well, we had like a lot of turnover, or whatever, we implemented a new curriculum or whatever it is. So the question isn't like we're off and that's a problem. It's like we're off and are we okay with that? What's the reason for that and are we okay with it? And so that's the thing that NYOS is going through now, is to diagnose those reasons.
Sometimes amazing things happen through work that you're doing. The TIA work is to benefit our teachers because we want to pay our teachers the maximum amount of money possible. And as a small charter, that can be difficult, especially when we have small class size, because we derive our budget from the number of students we have. And so getting TIA is a big win. NYOS has been seeking TIA for over 4 years just to get accepted into the program. And I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I'm betting that I will see Leanna and Rory shaking their head. The experience of calibration was probably one of the best experiences this year because it's very hard for us to all get away. So imagine myself, both principals, and all APs together. And the first time going into several classrooms and talking about, did you see what I see? If you saw something totally different, like you said, it doesn't mean it's bad or it's a negative. Let's talk through why and having those conversations. And then we've just done round 2. Again, very hard to get everyone together, but it's such a rich conversation because we want to highlight all the great things our teachers are doing, and we want to make sure that we're also talking about like what is the feedback that we're giving to somebody to elevate them to the next level, so that we're all on the same page. And so it's really been, the intent is to get the TIA funding. But some of the side benefits we're making sure, like you said, you don't want to see high scores and low evaluations of teachers, and you don't want to see phenomenal evaluation of teachers and the data is down in the basement. You really want to see it balanced within a range, and it's just been the conversation and the alignment among those people who are doing the T-tests and any other tool that we're using, so important.
It's great. present on and not actually just take it. So, yeah, stolen valor.
Next up is our Financial Oversight Committee.
All right, thanks. So as you can see that, I guess can't read, I don't think. The enrollment actually went down a little bit, month over month in November to 1805. Our budgeted amount is 1810, so we're a little behind. On the good news side, I did the math, and we're actually ahead year to date, right? Which is what counts for the entire budget. And generally, we have a lull in the holiday month, right? We see the same thing on attendance, which is up a little bit, but still below budgeted. But again, if you're looking at year to date, we're actually over 96%. So budget-wise, that's good news. The wait list is down a little bit because we are recruiting people to fill those open spots. You can go ahead and go to the next slide on the detailed financials. Days on hand on cash went down a little bit because we made the last of our big payment for the computers that we bought to have in July. And so our vendor was nice enough to let us space it out instead of taking it out in 1 month. So cash is down, but you know, we still have about $4 million cash on hand. So compared to other districts, other charter schools, we're in a really good financial position. And the plan from here is that now that we don't have these big expenses anymore, that we're going to build up that cash to be ahead by the end of the year. And it's already shown in our debt service coverage ratio, which is kind of the key thing that we need to get loans. Because one, we have to refinance a loan that we took out years ago, and we're probably going to have to get a short-term loan to go make campus improvements to accommodate all these extra kids in the higher grades.
What is the, I can't see it, what is the debt service coverage?
It's 1.23. And
the first time it's over,
1.1.
or 1.1?
Correct, because in the beginning of the year, we spend a bunch of money, right? We pay teachers a month before we get the cash in.
I was letting
It
you
looks
like,
bad.
get excited, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, right? We're not just
Yeah.
making up these numbers. That's the way it goes. By the end of the school year, one would think that it's going to be significantly higher. And that helps us because it will help with getting lower rates on the loans we're taking out, so we're spending less money on interest that we could be spending on other things.
Thank you. So next is the fundraising committee. Lisa Candido could not be here tonight, so I'm going to share information from the committee meeting. We met on February the 5th. Lisa, Michelle, Blanca, and Nina attended. We reviewed the minutes from the December meeting. Our current total fundraising and donations is $42,211.05. Our total donations, $35,207. Our fundraising, $7,004.01. We didn't have any major fundraisers in February. March is all about Amplify Austin. Last year, our goal was $12,000. This year's goal is $15,000. And then we're looking at a possible Consuela date. I think we're actually going to move that to later.
I think we do have confirmed 328.
328, okay. So everybody who wants a purse, send yourself or someone else to buy it for you on the 28th. We'll be there. We have started working with a fractional fundraising group, Bloom. We've met with their team on January the 2nd. We reviewed the scope of work, what we want them to help us with. We looked at upcoming events. We discussed some storytelling needs that we have, discussed for additional social media support, and then we discussed other ideas like working in a concession stand, a professional sporting event, a plant sale, a game night. We talked about some parents who had expertise in fundraising. We talked about dances. And then we shared all of our overall fundraising. And the last thing I want to share is that we have competitive grants that we apply for. We have applied for and received $83,571 in competitive grants with a total development year to date of $125,782. We tried.
Nominations committee. So we do have an update. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that season now where we'll be voting in the May election for the board members. We have open positions coming up for elementary, secondary teachers and parents, and then the community members are only a year term anyway, so they come every year. So we'll be meeting this week as a nominations committee and sending out some communication for people to be able to apply. There'll be on the school website a link where you can click and express your interest, and then a member of the nominations committee will contact those people interested. We'll have invite them to the April meeting. We'll also have a Q&A session in April where people can come and talk to board members to find out more about the positions, and then we'll be voting in May. That's a quick summary of what comes up in
and then I put a couple of the slides that we show during when we do have Q&A, when people do come, and just a little bit about the board, that we are one governing body that acts only together in official board meetings, and our voice is expressed through our vote. While the board has legal authority, individual members do not. Outside of meetings, we are simply members of the NYOS community, and we bring those different perspectives here to the board meetings. The board supervises the superintendent, not individual staff, and we are not school administrators. Each of us brings different perspectives, and we use them for the benefit of the entire school. And then I have just a little bit about our function, which we've discussed a lot tonight with finance, academic oversight. Our main work is setting direction and ensuring accountability, while day-to-day operations rest with the superintendent and staff. Individual cases come to the board through formal defined processes. So that will be coming out.
Yep.
We're meeting this week, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I believe we have our closed session. The school board will meet in executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code Section 551.074 regarding personnel matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of an officer or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee. This is a regularly scheduled mid-year evaluation consistent with our normal review process. Board members, please bring your duties. Let me get a second. That's all right. Because of your letter. And I just want the that's I'm not gonna say. Well, I go.
Give accountability for everything we can. To be a rating, we always have like this was taken away from us. We do not know our
You can even mention it. Now, is your sister, when you walk out, we thought it was right. So we no longer. I think I told you, like, we want to be different. We want a framework, and we would go present at conferences. We would just bring out like a big suite, and everybody would sleep on the floor. We were just, and we're still like that. And so, if you find your person, then that check that website, that CA website, and I would see when you're explaining what the rules are, they're like, this is from the CA website, and then put what they said with that. And you're just getting some time. She's like, I'm gonna tell you, like, here's what I think it's okay to have some. We probably won't, but they're doing it to us. Anyway, Paul, they're not letting you. Okay. Oh man, you swayed my boat. I was gonna hold on. The whole point is trying to keep everybody sure and talk about
I love it too. It's yeah, right. Yeah. That's the only place I finally get to eat. See you later. Like, that's not fajita or something like that. It's California. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I still haven't found a really good breakfast burrito.
Nobody makes breakfast burrito.
Which is so silly to me. Let me eat 4 tacos instead of just eating one
Mix them
burrito.
up. I get one with potato, egg, and cheese, one with bacon.
That's why you just get one. You get one with egg, potato, bacon, sausage, cheese, and one burrito. Because you have the
I'll probably send it to you and Leanna for just
the carne Oh, we had a little. We had this little spot called Campos in our town.
So like, it's really not content, but it's like, does it make sense? Is there anything that's wonky?
Yeah, it's very tight.
To check it one more
They have
time.
a cash on
I
there.
called Leanna this weekend to double check on something and I got her feedback, but I want you to look at it before we load it. Before we load it. Okay, sounds good to me. Thank you. Good night, get some rest. You too. You're like, I'm here anyway.
Unless you insist, check on me like in 10 minutes.
I just want to point out, it's not 8 o'clock.
I know. I was just saying that. I think we'll be out.
You're like, you said somebody, it's already 8:30.
I just want to point out also, no one said it's a light agenda. It's gonna get out early. Nobody said that in advance.
That's the ticket. No one has to say that.
Hey, by the way, high five, the timer worked like a charm. And the cutting off of the mic, yes.
Yep, it all worked out.
Didn't keep you from clapping, but it
I
was
had-
lighter.
It was.
It was tame at the start. They were like following it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the social media world looks like. You
Yeah.
should get on Facebook. You can get us right now.
Yeah, what's the update?
411.
Somebody sent me I did. We're gonna go 7 hours ago. About the middle school.
Right one, correct?
Yeah, I was like, that's news to me.
Same.
executive session. We have a quorum present and the board now reconvenes into open session. The time is now 9.
I'm so bad because I have to chart it and I'm gonna sit here and spend the night
We'd
here
just be,
tomorrow
we'd all
morning.
be there like